Right everyone, it is Finn here, welcome back to another video where today we're going to be talking about whether Crystal Palace star Eberechi Eze should choose to soar high with the Eagles or roar with the Lions, because ladies and gentlemen, it has just come out. Crystal Palace star Eberechi Eze is in line to earn England call-up with Gareth Southgate impressed by the Eagles playmaker, but of course the plot thickens as Nigeria still want him. Gasp! Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely gigantic. As we know, Eberechi Eze is one of the highest potential young players in the world at the moment. Of course, 23 years old, has been brilliant for Crystal Palace over the last 2 years. Unfortunately, this season has struggled with injuries, but of course, when he has played, he's been a real difference maker. He is one of those players who is brilliant on set pieces. He is brilliant on the ball. I mean, if you look at him statistically, over the last 2 years for Crystal Palace. As I said, unfortunately, this season has struggled with injuries, but last season 34 games in his first season in the Premier League, becoming a regular. That is so impressive. And of course, 10 goal contributions in his first ever Premier League season. I mean, he is made for the Premier League. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2-3 years if he played for a European team. He is that good. Of course, got him from the likes of QPR, where 14 goals and 8 assists in his last season for QPR. As I said, this kid is so high potential and he'll add value to any international team he joins. Now, of course, as you can also see on screen, he has played for the England under-21s and he has actually been called up before to the England international team. But of course, the day he was called up to the England international team last time around was the day that he picked up his injury. So of course, kind of a second chance to join the England international team. But of course, it is not going to be an easy decision to make because there are pros and cons to joining both Nigeria and both England. Just heading back to the article so long, if you look at the England international team, they pretty much change their midfielders more often than some people change their underwear at this rate. When a player is not on form, of course, they don't get selected to the England international team and sometimes they get lost in the system. We've seen that with Dele Alli. We've seen that with Jesse Lingard. And of course, even without players like that, there is so much competition and it's going to be so hard for a player like Eze to make his mark. As I said, I personally believe that he is brilliant. He will be able to make a name for himself. But at the moment, comparing him to the likes of a player like Phil Foden, Mason Mount, you've got James Maddison, James Ward-Prowse, all of those players that play in a similar position to him for the England international team. You really have to ask yourself, what's different about him? Now, of course, as I said, I believe that he's brilliant on so many different aspects, and the fact that he's only 23 years old really shows that he's still got so much room for improvement. And of course, one of the big things about joining the England international team is the fact that they will be going to the World Cup at the end of the year, and people are even talking about them winning the World Cup. There's a conversation about them winning every tournament in the entire world.
You're joking. Not another one?
So let's not get beyond that. But of course, looking at him, of course, going to a World Cup with England, having a chance to win the competition would be a huge pull factor for him. Where, of course, looking at the Nigerian national team, they're not even part of the World Cup at the end of the year. They didn't qualify for the World Cup, obviously losing to the likes of Ghana. So, of course, would that be a repelling factor for him? Look, I believe that there are pull and push factors to both. I can see why he would want to join the Nigerian national team. Of course, Nigeria have pulled in a few English youngsters over the years. Of course, most recently, the likes of Lookman changed allegiances from England to Nigeria, the Leicester City winger, and of course, that seems to be a really, really exciting prospect for the future. But can they do it with the likes of Eze as well? As I said, Nigeria, although not at the World Cup, let's be honest, Eze would be guaranteed more game time for the Super Eagles. And of course, looking at Nigeria, they've got a really exciting young-looking squad for the future, and they look really, really promising in the future. So he would be part of a really exciting-looking African kind of project that's being built at the moment. If you look at your likes of Moses Simon, Chukwueze, you obviously look at Osimhen, you look at Okoye between the goalkeeper posts. Nigeria has such a young promising squad, and of course the likes of Eze would just add so much value to that. And of course it is not, as I said, going to be an easy decision to make. I think Eze, as I said, such a promising player, and even in a Crystal Palace team that is filled with so much young, rich talent at the moment, is still able to outshine so many. If you look at him compared to his teammates, he's in a team with the likes of Gahai, obviously the former Chelsea centre-back who's recently also been called up to England. He has made his debut for them. You've got your Gallagher, you've got your Elise. There are so many young players in this current team. Obviously, Tarek Mitchell. This Crystal Palace team has already built something special, and they're almost a good example of what England could look like at the moment in terms of their young English players. Now, of course, the news comes as reports claim Nigeria are also interested in calling up the Greenwich-born player whose parents are from the African country, obviously from Nigeria. That is how he is eligible. Patrick Vieira's side are set to ward off any transfers interest in Eze this summer from the likes of Newcastle and Aston Villa. Now, of course, I don't see him moving to Aston Villa. Of course, Aston Villa recently just permanently signed Philippe Coutinho, the Brazilian magician, so I can't see them splashing the cash as well on a player like Eze. But of course, Newcastle United, the richest club in the world. Let's be honest, you say you're not going to sell a player like Eze, but for the right price, you probably will. The richest club in world football. I mean, let's be honest, Newcastle could splash maybe a 40 or a 50 for him, and let's be honest, Crystal Palace would probably end up taking that. I mean, just looking at Eze, as I said, what a bright young player, and he just has to be careful of being lost in the system. He has to be careful of being called up to this England international team, playing 2-3 games, and then never being called up again, and then being ineligible to play for Nigeria. This is not going to be an easy decision to make for any party. Of course, I get why the likes of Nigeria want him. He is a promising midfielder that would be part of their system for up to a decade. I get why England wants him. He's a very young, promising player, and they don't want to lose a player like him to the likes of Nigeria. As I said, I've got no idea where he should end up going. I mean, I'm just happy I'm not in his boots because it cannot be an easy decision to make. As I said, I mean, maybe he should join England because going to a World Cup is always exciting, but I'm sure if he joined Nigeria, obviously, as I said, he's got more promise to play. And let's be honest, the rise of this Nigerian national team at the moment, I could see them qualify for the next World Cup. Now, of course, Eze would be like 24 by that, or 27 by that time. So would he want to wait that long to potentially qualify for a World Cup? Once again, we're going to have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it for today's video. Of course, this was released a day or two ago, and I wanted to give you guys a quick little update on my opinion on it, and obviously an update on the situation as a whole. Obviously, I mean, he's only just returned from injury, but of course, within the 3 games that he's played since returning from injury, he's already made such an impact. I mean, as I said, what a player for the future. Also so versatile, can play as a winger, can play as a midfielder. That could also work in his favor, kind of like a full Foden in that aspect. As I said, maybe it would be easier if he was playing for a top 6 team in terms of guaranteeing play time for England to an extent, if that makes sense. I mean, if he was pulling these kinds of performances for the likes of Chelsea or for the likes of Man City, I think he would almost be guaranteed game time for England. But once again, we'll have to wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put down in the comment section down below, if you were Eze, what would you choose? If you were Eberechi Eze, would you choose Nigeria or would you choose England? It is not an easy decision to make. And of course, guys, for your regular football content, don't forget to subscribe down below. I do football content on a very regular basis, especially international content, with the World Cup coming up at the end of the year, and of course African Cup of Nations coming also soon, I believe next year that is. So of course, if you do like regular football content, don't forget to subscribe. Of course, don't forget to check out my TikTok if you haven't yet. I do short form content every single day, or at least I try to. So of course, if I don't upload on YouTube, you'll most likely find me there. Of course, leave a like down below. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, this has been Finn, FYNN. Cheers.